More than 2 years after telling authorities that his wife had fatally took her own life, a former Idaho State Police trooper has been charged with murder. Daniel C. Howard, age 57, of Athol, surrendered himself to police on April 21st and faces charges of murder and domestic battery in connection with a February 2021 deceasement of his wife, Kendi Howard. On February 2nd, 2021, Howard allegedly called police and told them that his wife had injured herself. Investigators now state that they found probable cause after determining that the woman's wound was not self inflicted. Howard reportedly already had a criminal history. He resigned from the Idaho State Police back in 2014 after initially being put on administrative leave without pay as investigators looked into criminal charges he faced in Coutania and Bonner counties. Authorities alleged at the time that Howard threatened to take the life of his best friend after he found out his wife was having an alleged affair with him. Howard was accused of pouring syrup into his friend's car, leaving him vulgar messages, and firing a shotgun at his home. Howard also allegedly stole thousands of rounds of ammunition from state police and used a fake name in the application for a motorcycle. After striking a plea deal with prosecutors for charges of malicious inquiry to property, petty theft, title fraud, and failing to tag a deer he wounded, he spent 120 days in jail and completed 600 hours of community service. Howard reportedly took the life of a woman while on duty back in 2011, but the incident was later ruled justified by a separate investigator agency. Indy was remembered in her obituary as someone who had a bubbly personality and the ability to make everyone feel as if they were her friend. The 48-year-old Idaho native leaves behind two children and one grandchild, among other loved ones. Howard remains in jail with no bond and is set to be arraigned next week. It is unclear as if he has retained an attorney to speak on his behalf. I want to say my condolences to the Howard family. And not sure if they may have had any kids or not, but my condolences to them as well. Again, it's a shame that you have incidences such as this where people opt to just not leave a relationship. They would rather cause irreparable damage to one another or to the lives of the surrounding people. And I find it pretty interesting that this was a cop that did this, right? And these are the same people that say back the blue and all these other great things, right? And people want to really support. But a lot of times you will find incidences like this where the cops will impersonate people, they will steal information, they will forge documentation, and they will decide to commit these acts against one of their loved ones, their own families, their children's, and so on and so on. And then they'll decide to try to cover up the crime because they are a law enforcement officer. 9 times out of 10, the cops are going to, take the word of another cop over the word of anybody else, and they're going to believe this person. So you already have a cop out here that took the life of a woman previously, and it was ruled justified. And because they ruled that justified, that gave him the ammunition, that gave him the certification that he needed to feel that, okay, I can do this again. And I know that I'm going to get away with it because I got away with it before. So a group of his own peers or that are a part of the system justified and said, yeah, it was fine and dandy. He had all right. She was moving slightly. Her body was bladed. However they want to make the excuse, they gave him the justification and the full right to do and agree with whatever it is that he did, which inevitably ended with the loss of life of that woman. So now, emboldened, he decided to do it again. And here we are. So I would love to sit up there and see the same group of people that justified and okayed what it is that he did also on trial as well. Because if they would have stopped him then, if they would have put him on trial then, if they would have locked him up then, if they would have made him to be responsible for those actions the first time, we more than likely would not have made it to a second time. There's a lot of people that are to blame for the reason of this woman's life. Of course, at the very top is Daniel C. Howard, who is an ex-Idaho state trooper. But you also have his peers. which justified and okayed his actions previous years, which led to this moment. And this is what I told people before. If you happen to stop a problem when you know that it's a problem, it's no longer going to be a problem in the future. Well, at least from that perspective of dealing with that area. But everybody knew what the problem was. Everybody saw the type of person that Daniel was, and they refused to do anything about it. So now other people have to pay for those consequences. Now other people have to take responsibility for his actions of which they had no parts of. That's unfair. That's wrong. And again, as I stated before, a lot of these people need to be on trial. They need to have more time than he's going to get. Because there's no telling how many other people directly out there that they have inevitably allowed to have their lives taken by way of justifying the actions of one, a few, or many cops directly out there.